You're listening to Channel Talk 101, where we discuss topics that explain the best tactics in channel marketing to help manufacturers sell more of their products. Channel Talk 101, educating you on channel marketing. Channel Talk 101, marketing, sales and solutions.
Hello there, and welcome to Channel Talk 101, our new show, with series of shows where I bring on leaders in the channel marketing and channel sales side of things. Really, because, as we all know, the world is changing. And the way that people are actually going to market is changing with it. And, channel marketing has been around, hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, sales is the oldest profession in the world, but at the same time, the way that we go to market has had to change because that's why we started Channel Talk 101. And I was reading an article. It was in Forbes magazine, one of my favorite magazines, and I noticed it was from a friend of mine. It was written by a friend of mine and also a strategic partner here at Business Class News, Carlo Breda, who is the CEO and founder of Gorilla Corporation. And of course, we had him on a few weeks ago on Linked AM. You may have remembered seeing that, and we had a great conversation about how you can really maximize your revenue opportunities if you leverage your partners. Well, this article was talking about, and this is what caught my attention. It was the alchemy of co-marketing. Well, go back to the medieval times, and this is what he talks about. People used to try and turn lead into gold. Well, that's everybody's wish. They could turn something into something that's valuable. Well, that's what channel marketing can be if it's done in the right way. So I've got Carlo actually on the studio line. Thanks for joining me today, Carlo. And again, I love the background and the backdrop there. You look very relaxed. It's a Friday, and hey, it's good. It's good to be, in business, as they say.
Exactly. Thanks for having me, Carl. I'm so glad to be back on your show.
Well, I just sort of did a little bit of an intro. I mean, it was an article that you wrote on one of my most favorite magazines, Forbes, and you were featured in there. And you wrote an article, and it was called "The Alchemy of Co-Marketing." So, tell me more. I'm gonna be quiet because I love talking. You know that. But you wrote the article. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I like talking too. And so, we battle it out. But the for me the alchemical connotation is really interesting. I think it's a really nice analogy. I was always struck by this by the imagery of alchemists in the old days and the struggle to turn lead into gold, as you say. In general terms, it was really about transforming things that maybe did not have value into things of value. It was generally also about your own personal transformation. But when it comes to channel and when it comes to business, I think it's a very fitting analogy. And when it comes to channel in particular, I see so many, being in the channel business as I have been for numerous years, 28 to be precise. I have seen so many instances of channels not performing. And they're not performing because they're kind of left alone. And that's the biggest mistake you can make in this business, in the technology business in particular. You sign up a channel partner. You start off with a level of enthusiasm. The partner is really excited to partner with you, and then you kind of let it drift because you're busy, because the partner is busy, and then things kind of move apart. And so the idea there behind the article is, no, let's engage. Let's make sure that you do work the relationship. with the partners. And if you do work the relationships with the relationship with the partners in a empathic and very driven manner, then you will get tremendous results. And when it comes to co-marketing, I just wanted to say, all said and done, this is quite an important point in my opinion. There are three different areas or methods to drive business with and through the channel. One is the partners doing what you would hope that they would do, which is to look for opportunities themselves and then come to you and declare them. Usually they do that in the format called deal registration. So, but that's that obviously, the more you engage with a partner, the more you're friendly with a partner, and the partner knows and trusts that you've got their back, the more they'll be keen to bring opportunities to the table to share with you. It's not just about the margin. So that's one area of business development, is the deal registrations that they bring. The second one is the deals that you bring to the partner. Okay, and that's through your own corporate marketing. So as a business, you'll have your own inbound strategies. You'll have your own web leads that are coming in, and it's the right thing to do is to look at all those inbound business opportunities and then triage them out to your partners so that you give the right opportunity to the right partner. That's a second major, let's say, grouping. The third, and I think that's a magical one, is where you actually partner together, and it's like you consummate the partnership at that point, because it's not about me giving a lead to you or you giving a lead to me, right? But it's about us working it together. So the co-marketing creates some really new ideas together, develop and wordsmith a new value proposition together, and go to market together with that, co-brand assets together. And that's really that's the difference. That's when a partnership becomes alive, and that's what's really exciting.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, as you know, I've been an enterprise sales guy, in my past life and during now. I mean, really, every conversation I have, I'm really sort of looking for opportunities. But from my experience, I've seen that when somebody does embrace, a strategic partner, a channel partner as such, because let's be honest, we all get busy, like you just said. We all have hundreds of platforms that we can use. There are different ways that you can go to market. You've got your outbound marketing, you've got your inbound marketing, etc. But if you can formalize a great way of working together and have somebody that can be your point person to say, look, let me help you. Let me help you get this marketing message over, because this is our strength. We're the manufacturer, we're the software developer, etc. We know what the features and benefits are. You, as the partner, you've got strengths in your own sort of network of customers because you know what they're looking for. So why not pull those together? And you talk about a concierge type of approach. That's what you do over at Gorilla, isn't it? You actually have that point person where they can work with you and their partners to make sure they really sort of gel together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do a lot of that. And I think this is a very, very fast growing part of the business. I just saw recently a Forrester report that indicated that the market was growing to about $1.3 billion in platform revenue, and another $1.3 billion in services revenue. And this is the kind of services revenue that Gorilla is already delivering and poised to grow into. So the reason why we exist, really, and the reason why this is it's good business for us, is because at the end of the day, it's a lot of work. To invest, to partnering is something that needs to be done really from the heart, and it has to be done. It takes time. It just takes time. It takes time and it takes skill. And vendors have so much going on already, and they also are usually, especially if they're quoted on the stock exchange, they have to have they have to be very effective, and you have to be careful about the ratio of headcount to revenue, that sort of thing. So often enough, they don't have all the headcount that they would like in order to cover the channel as well as they would like. So what actually happens, all said and done, is that the vendor will have excellent teams dealing with the real apex of the pyramid, with the top level partners. But then everybody else in the whole channel does not really get as much love and attention as they would like to receive, and as the vendor would like to offer. And so therefore, often enough, an outsourced solution is a perfect solution. So they will come to us, and we will actually rebrand our marketing consultants and strategic marketing experts and tactical marketing experts and digital marketing experts, and we get them to live and breathe the vendor brand. And so they actually they represent, they're the ambassadors of the brand with the reseller, except that we are delivering those services. We are there at the front line together with the reseller, designing new campaigns, designing new strategies, giving the reseller even the time and the credit that they deserve as business partners, right? They're not just business partners in name because they signed up on a partner program. They have to be real business partners. So what we do is that we look at their business needs, how they want to grow as a business of their own, not really thinking about them as a reseller, but looking at them as an individual corporation. And then we, as representing the vendor, we will look at what we can do with our strength and our capabilities and our creativity to push that joint proposition together. And that will often mean designing a strategy, looking at a marketing calendar, and more than anything, look at the sales revenue growth that they want to achieve. And in order to get there, we need to make sure that we design a marketing calendar with a lead waterfall that allows enough marketing pipeline to be built in order to be able to deliver that revenue number.
Well, that's really smart. I mean, at the end of the day, how many times have you seen a partner program that's got like a great big bucket, but it's got holes in it, and all these partners are falling through the end, and you're having to keep filling it up, to try and keep those people, because they're moving on. If they don't see that they're getting the value from that partnership, then there's other people out there that they can go and sell. They got so really you've got to be forefront of mind, and if you have what you just said, put that in place where it's actually the cement that bonds things together, because the vendor client can get on with manufacturing and refining the product itself, and then the partners feel as if, okay, I've got somebody I can turn to, because the thing what I think everybody fears is there's going to be a great opportunity that comes on the table, and then it goes somewhere else. It goes to somebody, another manufacturer or whatever. But if you've got that relationship, and I think that's the key thing, if you've got that relationship, and that takes time and effort. If you don't put the time into any relationship, then you're going to separate. So it's building that trust, and I think that's the key word as well: relationship and trust.
You got it. Relationship and trust is really where it's at. I remember in my early days when I was myself a reseller of CRM solutions, really in the early days of my career. But even then, I remember that I had a choice of vendors to work with. And the ones that I actually ended up selling the most of were the ones that were giving me the time of day, that were engaging with me. And I felt I had a relationship, a friendly relationship. And of course, I wanted to, drive the business that was good for our business, but also I wanted to build on this relationship of trust and mutual support, right? The other angle I just wanted to make very quickly, I was thinking about that as you were speaking just now, is that we often forget as vendors, we often forget how expensive it is for a reseller to sign up with a vendor line, right? It is huge cost. And we normally, more often than not, we don't really give them credit for that, right? So signing up a reseller will often mean an enormous spend on the part of the reseller in terms of executive time, dedicated training time for the salespeople salary time, essentially, sales engineering time. So all said and done, even in a modest relationship, if you want to sign up a reseller, the reseller has to basically not necessarily pay you a check, but they've got to sacrifice, a good $500,000 to $1 million for each vendor they want to bring on, because that's what it's going to cost them all said and done at the end of the day. They'll have to dedicate 2 or 3 heads minimum to a relationship to make it work. And so therefore, the onus is on us as the vendor community to give them the credit that they deserve, give them the respect that they deserve for an organization that is looking to partner with you and is looking to sacrifice their own resources, to sacrifice their own gross margin and take the risk to bring you on as a vendor. Well, the very least that you really need to do is to do everything you can to support them and to support them on the marketing side and help them to build a fantastic marketing go-to-market together. And that's really the core of the spirit of co-marketing is, we'll build it together. I've got your back. I'm going to make you successful. I'll make it as easy as possible for you to sell my products because I'm going to create an enormous pipeline and I'll help you close it. That's the spirit. That's the idea.
I mean, when I first met you a couple of years ago, I was like, okay, this is a different approach to the market. But you've been doing this, as you say, for years, and you've grown your business because of that relationship and trust that you've created for your clients and for the partners that they bring to the table. So explain a little bit more about the concierge system that you have, and we touched on it a second ago. The fact that you do product training with your own ambassadors, etc., concierge, so that they live and breathe the vendor product, so that they can actually train and work with the partners. Is that how it works? Just explain that a little bit.
Yeah. It's exactly that. So for us, we take it extremely seriously because we act as ambassadors for the vendors that we represent. To all intents and purposes, the partner thinks that we are the vendor. So we're totally branded that way. To start with, we recruit into Gorilla experts, digital marketing experts, strategic marketing experts. Really, some of the folks that we have are the best in the business at each of the levels. Yep. So we have very senior level people, mid-level people, and more junior people. But everybody that we bring on, we really go through a very, very tough selection process. And only the best of the best come and work at Gorilla. Once we have them, then we go through a great deal of internal training, contextualizing the reality of the vendor scenario. And then, of course, they then go through an element of vendor training as well. So by the time they're ready to go, they really are at the top of their game. At that point, they will start engaging with the resellers, and depending, we have two types of models. One is for let's say the tier 1, let's say, level, which is maybe the more complex relationships with resellers, or sometimes not even resellers. Tactically, they'd be called GSIs, Global Systems Integrators. So at the highest level, we'll work with companies like Accenture, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Tech Mahindra, Cognizant, Virtusa, all of these very, very large integrators that have a great deal of complexity, and they often will move a little bit slower than the smaller reseller. These are really hefty relationships. Usually they do a lot of repackaging of the vendor technology and create solutions of their own, which are quite complex. So that's a special kind of partnership, and we drive those partnerships too. But that requires a special approach, and it requires often some very strategic campaign designers that are deployed against those types of programs. Ultimately, it's always about generating marketing pipeline in order to ultimately generate revenue. Then we have a second tier of concierge agents who are very skilled digital marketing experts, or sometimes strategy and sometimes tactical experts. depending on what the goals are of the specific program, and they will engage with value-added resellers and other types of partner organizations, sometimes MSPs, and they will again look at engaging with them to drive better marketing activities. Generally, the idea is highly consultative. Let's look at where that business wants to go. Then we look at developing a strategy, a marketing calendar, and then designing the actual tactics that would need to be carried out quarter by quarter in order to satisfy the pipeline building needs. So that's kind of how we do it. And whilst I'm at it, I just wanted to point out that we can do this globally. So that's one of the cool things. We have trusted companions, if you like, employees and contractors all over the world. So we really cover everything from Japan to Brazil.
So what I'm hearing, and unfortunately we're coming up to the end of the segment, but we've got this whole series that we're going to be doing, with you and with your colleagues, etc. So I'm really excited about that. But so I just want to round this out. Let's go back to where we came from with the beginning of the segment, where we said it's the alchemy of co-marketing as such, where we're going to turn something that is, something that's just there that you want to change into something that's valuable. Just summarize, what that means. When somebody comes to your company and says, "Hey, I have this goal," because I tell you what, we did together a survey. Where we both came up with questions, etc. And the biggest sort of answer that we had was that people were frustrated with the fact that the channel was not performing the way it should be. And that wasn't, and it's a negative if you look at it one way, but it's not a negative, because if you can turn that around and say, okay, that's great, because we have answers for that. I think there's a lot of people out there that are frustrated that channel marketing and the sales, channel is not working for them, but co-marketing is the way forward, isn't it?
It is, and let me give you a short and succinct example of how and why it's really alchemical, right? So, a typical customer scenario, a customer might come to us and they might say, "Well, we have 500 partners. But of these 500 partners, only 20 are really good, and they're really, really delivering. And maybe there are another 30 or 40 that sometimes do something, but the vast majority don't do much at all." That's kind of really, that's a very, very likely scenario. I hear that so often. Now, if you engage them with co-marketing, if you engage all of 500 with co-marketing, imagine you will actually start driving a pipeline from maybe not all of the 500 will participate, but a vast majority will move from being lethargic to being revenue generators. And boom, you've got your alchemy just there and then. You had something that was not delivering, something that was led, and you actually, through the love and professional engagement, you turned that into gold, and it really does work like that.
Carlo, thank you for joining me this morning. This has been a fascinating discussion. And by the way, I've actually FedExed a lump of lead to you, and I need you to turn that into gold, all right? No, seriously. I've seen your magic. I know that you turn things around and you've got a fantastic team. As I said, we're going to be continuing these conversations on, and, we'll be learning from you. And I'm sure there's going to be questions from the audience. So as I get those in, we can handle those on our next segment that we have together.
That'd be nice. Thanks for your time, Carl. It's always good to talk to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. That was, of course, Carlo Breda, the CEO and founder of Gorilla Corporation. And, as we started the segment off, we were talking about really we've got to turn something that you think could be valuable into something very valuable. And if you follow those steps that Carlo just talked about, then really you can have a very successful channel partner program. And so if you have questions, you know how to find me, carl@businessclassnews.com. Email me your questions, because we've got a whole series of these conversations with Carlo and his great team. So, tune in. This is Channel Talk 101, and thanks for joining me today.